Okay, we're up to the beginning of Chaf Gimel Amid Aleph Amarava. It's 2 lines into the page. So we had this machlokes in Rav Yochanan and Rish Lakish. What's the chiyuv of a fire? Is isha mishum chetziyai, that it's like you shot a bullet? It's koyach, and you're responsible for any koyach that damages that you did, or isha mishum amaynai, or it's your property. The same way if you buy an ox, the ox gores, you're responsible. If you make a fire and the fire damages, you're responsible. So we said yesterday, the nafkamina between these two opinions, one of the nafkaminas, a couple, one of the nafkaminas would be if you spread a fire that's not yours. So if you hold Isha Mishum Chetzi, you'll be responsible. Isha Mishum Amani, you're not responsible. Omer Rava, Kashal Abaya. Rava says, I asked Abaya the following thing. Lamanda Isha Mishum Chetzi. If you hold that you're responsible for fire because it's like a bullet, then what's the Indian of Taman Be'esh? Taman Be'esh is that if a person starts a fire, let's say burns down a field, and there's something in the field that's hidden, you're not responsible for it. So Abaya is asking Rav is asking the following thing to Abaya. No, I'm sorry, Abaya had the following question. If you hold Isha Mishum Chetziyai, that the reason why you're chayav by a fire is because you shot a bullet, what would the difference be between something hidden, something revealed? If Isha is Mishum Amaynai, if you're responsible because it's your animal, it's sort of like your animal, your property that does the damage, then it's not so shver, because we find that Shein and Regel are Pater B'Shus Harabim. Why? There's a cause. Fine. Not all the time are you responsible. Not all the time are you responsible for something. For not all the time are you responsible for your property. But if you hold that Isha is Mishum Chetziyai, that it's for a bullet, what's the difference? If I shot a bullet, I shot someone hidden, I shot someone revealed, what would the difference be? So, V'nichale and Abaya himself answered the question. The case is, you made a fire in field A, but field A at the time had fire-resistant walls. The fire could not spread. But while the fire was lit, nafla geder shaloi machamas daleka, the wall fell, not because of the fire. The wall fell stam. It's bad timing. So you made a fire in field A, but at the time when you made the fire could not spread because there was a wall. While the fire is going, the wall falls, independent of the fire. That's how the wall fell. Then the fire goes to field B, and in field B it has something hidden. That's when you're potter. Why? So he said, why are you potter when something hidden? I understand you shot the bullet. The answer is, when you made this fire, the bullet could not travel. When you made the fire would have been contained in field A. Then, subsequently, after the fire was already made, so that meaning you shot your shot, and when you shot the bullet, it wouldn't travel. So there's no chiyuv. The wall fell. Then when the wall fell, now it's able to spread. So now you'll be potter for something that's hidden. The question is, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second.
Recording stopped.
So if Isha is Mishum Chetziyai, that's why you're potter, because when you shot the shot, it wouldn't go. So wait a minute. So if Isha is Mishum Chetziyai, and when you shot, it wouldn't travel to the other field, so that's why you're potter on the things hidden in field B, but you're chayav for the things revealed in field B. That doesn't make any sense. Why? If you're telling me that it's all a matter of when you shot the bullet, Mishum Chetziyai, when you shot the arrow, it couldn't travel. So I'm not responsible for them when the wall fell. I'm not responsible because the arrow should not be able to travel on its own. Okay, that's why I'm potter for something that's hidden. And then when the wall fell, then all of a sudden the things are now it's able to travel. So I'm potter for things that are hidden, but I'm chayav for things that are revealed. I'm chayav for the straw in field B. Why? The same reason I'm potter for the things hidden, I should potter from the things that are revealed. The answer is, the answer is like this. When Rish Lakish said Yechai Mishum Chetziyai, it's considered a bullet, he also agrees with Rish Lakish. He agrees that he says it's mitzada Mishum Chetziyai, but B, even if Chetziyai doesn't apply, it's still your property. So therefore, you started a fire. Yeah, Mishum Chetziyai should be potter on everything in field B because the wall fell. But here's the thing: it's your property. And now you have the opportunity to rebuild that wall. You have your ox. You built a wall to stop the ox. The wall fell. And the ox went out. Well, then you're going to be responsible. That's why you're responsible, because even Rabbi Yochanan agrees to Rish Lakish. He's just adding to it. And the case is that after the wall fell, you had opportunity to rebuild and you didn't. So now your mom and your property got out, and you're responsible for things that are property. Now you're potter for things that are hidden. It's like Osif. The Hasam Shairu who v'loy tafach ba'abe, and you should have stopped. It's like your ox got out. So now we're introducing that Rabbi Yochanan agrees with Rish Lakish. She's adding to it. So here's the kasha. So what's the real machlokes now? Meaning, if you could say the machlokes, listen, we still have that nafkamina we had yesterday about if I don't own the thing. Okay, fine. But now you're telling me that Rabbi Yochanan really holds over Rish Lakish. So now what's the machlokes? Ishoy mishum chetziyah. I mean, they argue not just in a case where it's someone else's fire. Ishoy mishum chetziyah. Your fire itself, is it mitzad a bullet, or is it mitzad mammon? So now that you're telling me that there's really no difference. So there's no difference. So what's the machlokes between Rish and Rish Lakish? What's a nafkamina? The answer is the case is where you made a fire, and the fire burnt and hurt a person. So we know that when you damage property, you pay for it. But when you damage a person, you're chayv in arba dvarim, you're chayv in boishes and pagam and ripoy and sheves. That's the nafkamina. You caused the fire, and the fire went and it burned somebody. If isha is mishum emaynai, then it's not that I hurt somebody, it's my property hurt someone, then I don't have to pay for the four things. But if isha mishum chetziyai, then you would be responsible, because the same way when you hurt someone, you have to pay four things. Mishum chetziyai, so koyach also you have to pay four things. That would be the nafkamina. Okay, then the Mishnah said that if a dog takes a biscuit and he puts it down and makes a fire, so he's chayiv, shein, 100%, yeah, the Bala Kelev has to pay for the biscuit. And you also have to pay for the fire, what the fire damaged. Man chayiv, who's obligated to pay for what the fire damaged, the field that the fire burned down? Bala Kelev, the owner of the dog. Oh, the question is, why is the Bal HaKelev chayiv? Shouldn't the one who left the coal out, you left the coal in the open seemingly, a dog comes and takes the coal, takes a cookie that has the coal on it, and spreads a fire. So I understand, the Bal HaKelev is peshay, he should have stopped his dog from doing it. But isn't the Bal HaGacheles also responsible? The answer is Shashim Gachlasa. The case is where the fire, the coal was in someone's backyard, he didn't do anything wrong. So how did the dog get to it? What's the dog doing over there? The answer is shachar. The dog dug under the fence and broke into someone's house. The way dogs break in is they burrow under it. So the dog breaks into someone's house, backyard. He's having a barbecue. He grabs the piece of burger with a coal on it. He eats the burger, and the fire starts. Now, he's chayiv 100% on the burger, or the biscuit, whatever. Why? Because it's shame. Now, how did he get to it? He had to burrow under it. Now, if it's abnormal to do that, then that would be Karen. You see from here that a dog burrowing in order to break into someone's backyard is a normal activity for dogs. You see that it's normal for a dog to burrow under to get to it. Fine. Now, where did the dog eat the biscuit? Again, you're only chayiv b'rshus hanizik. So that means that it has to be, he didn't take the biscuit outside of the domain. He ate the biscuit where he broke in. Right? We know that he burned down a field and he ate the biscuit. So it can't be that he burnt down a random field that's in public property, because you're only responsible if you destroy in b'shus hanizik. Shein is only chay b'shus hanizik. So rather it must be okay, it's very simple. He breaks into someone's backyard, eats the guy's biscuit, and burns down the guy's field. All b'shus hanizik. Okay. What you see from here is tifshit debei para. You could learn from here that the mouth of a cow. Go to the next page. Kechotzer hanizik dami. Over here, and this is like, I think, a davar pasha. You have an animal. The animal is only responsible if it happens in b'shus hanizik. Let's say the damage happens b'shus hamazik, right? My dog, someone breaks into my backyard, and my dog hurts him. I'm not responsible, because I could say, what are you doing in my dog's backyard? Over here, the dog breaks into someone else's backyard and eats something. So we said he's chayiv mishum shein. That's a technicality. When the food goes in his mouth, and assuming the dog didn't eat right away, the dog had the biscuit in his mouth, running around the backyard with the biscuit in his mouth. Technically, the mouth of the dog is b'shus hamazik, right? It's its own domain. So then, what is the status? If a dog eats a biscuit b'shus hanizik, do we say it's b'shus hanizik and you're chayiv mishum shein, or do you say no? It's really b'shus hamazik because the mouth of the dog, wherever it is the dog's property. So the Gemara says, it must be that the mouth of the dog is b'shus hanizik. Why? Because if the dog is considered b'shus hamazik, then you could always say to the dog, if the mouth of the dog is b'shus hamazik, right? Why is it that when you break into the mazik's backyard, right? My dog is the aggressive dog. You break into my backyard, my dog bites you. I don't have to pay because I say, what are you doing in my dog's backyard? Over here, the dog breaks into someone else's backyard, but the food is in the dog's mouth. He steals that food and he eats it, and it's in his mouth. If the mouth of the dog is technically considered b'shus hamazik, then I should never have to pay because I can say, what's your biscuit doing in my dog's mouth? Right? Technically, there's no payment b'shus hamazik. Now, the classic b'shus hamazik is my backyard. Over here, if you consider the dog's mouth wherever it is b'shus hamazik, you'll never have shein. So the Gemara says that. That was the question once asked. You'll never have shein. Because wherever it is, it's b'shus hamazik. So due to a technicality, you never have shein. So the Gemara says, you're right, maybe you'll never have shein. So how do you have, the pasuk describes shein, bir b'stei acher. You'll never have the av of shein, you'll only have toldus. Amr of Mari B'red of Kana, the way, if you believe that the mouth of the dog is considered b'shus hamazik, in which case you'll never have shein. So the pasuk describes shein. It must be the only time you'll have shein is not when it comes to eating. It's where it's the toldus of shein. Right? The toldus of shein are the same essence of shein, which is it destroys to get pleasure, but it doesn't eat because again, eating due to a technicality would never be chayiv because it's always b'shus hamazik. The Gemara says, Amar Amari B'der of Kahana Kegain Shenichtacha B'Kaisel Anasai. The cases where the animal rubbed itself against the wall and destroyed, let's say, a painting on the wall, or V'Tinfa Peres Anasai rolled on fruit and destroyed the fruit. That would be what the Torah meant by shein, because it can't be eating because due to technicalities, b'shus hamazik. It must be that would be what the Torah meant. So wait a minute. So you're telling me bir b'stei acher is talking about where the animal rolled on fruit. The problem is bir b'stei acher means that the item is completely destroyed, completely obliterated. Now that happens when you eat; it's completely consumed. But now you're telling me the only case potentially that the Torah would be talking about is not shein; it's told of shein, which is when the animal rolls on something. Now, if the animal rolls on something, then it's not going to be shein, right? It's not going to be destroyed. It's going to be smushed, but it's going to still be there. I thought it has to be completely obliterated. So Ravina the Shaft Salmi, the case where the animal's rubbing its back, it's where it rubs its back on a painting to the point where the painting is completely rubbed off. Or Ravashi says it's where it presses the fruit into the ground and it completely becomes into pulp. Okay. So we're back to so we're trying to analyze this question: is the mouth of the animal considered b'shus hamazik? In which case, you're never really responsible because you could always say, "What's your hand doing in my mouth?" Or is it b'shus hanizik? Tashema shisa b'yasakelev. Let's say someone else has a dog. Reuben owns a dog. I go over to the dog and I say, "Go sick him," and I get the dog to bite somebody. Or shisa b'yasanachash, or I incite a snake against somebody. Potter, I, the inciter, am not responsible. It's not my dog. Man Potter, who's not responsible? Masha Potter, v'chay balkel. The only one that's responsible is the owner of the dog, because it's your responsibility to make sure your dog doesn't do damage. But if your dog bites somebody, you're responsible. Now, if the mouth of the dog is considered b'chotzar hamazik, then I could say, well, I'm ever responsible for biting. I could say, what's your animal doing? What's your hand doing in my dog's mouth? The answer is Imar Potter Af Meshasa. You're right. Maybe, according to this possibility, maybe you take a Potter Legamri. Viba Yisema, or another option, the Afke Lenive Visarte. Perhaps the case is not where the dog bit, where the dog's fangs stuck out and or the snake's venom snuck out. It wasn't, again, our shaila is, what is the mouth considered? Rishus Hamazik, Rishus Hanizik. We thought the case is, well, if it's Rishus Hamazik, you'll never have Chayiv Mishum Shein, because you'll never be chayiv for biting. The answer is You would be chayiv if the animal bit where person didn't put his hand in his mouth. The fangs, like he sort of just plucked with the fangs, and he poked with the fangs. That would potentially be the option. So Tashema, another option, another proof. Hishach ba'is anachash. If I take a snake and I stab someone with the fangs, Rav Yehuda mechayiv, and the guy dies. So Rav Yehuda says the person who stabbed him is chayiv the death penalty. The chum poitrim, and the chum say you're not chayiv. Vam Rav Acha bar Yaakov. Rav Acha bar Yaakov says kishatim saloimer. When you analyze, this is the conclusion. L'div Rav Yehuda, according to Rav Yehuda, that says that you're chayiv for stabbing someone with the fangs of a snake. Oras nachash ben shinav hu oimid. There's apparently a shaila in the Gemara of what happens with the snake's fangs. Is it that the snake's fangs, that the venom is there, and the second you put the fangs in, it automatically comes out? In which case, when I stab someone with the fangs, it's the snake did nothing. It's me just like mamish taking a knife and killing somebody. That's Rav Yehuda shita. Lafikach makish b'sayif and nachash pata, and that's why you don't have to kill the snake, right? Normally, when an animal kills, you kill the animal. You don't have to kill the snake because the snake didn't do anything. L'divrei chacham, according to the chachamim, that says that if you stab someone with a snake fangs, they take a snake and you stab someone with it, you're not going to get the death penalties because he holds nachash mi'atzmayaki. It's not the fangs that do it; it's that when the snake has fangs in somebody, it sort of brings about the venom from inside the body. So it's not that the person killed him; it's the snake killed him. So the snake will be killed and not the person. So according to this, if you take a snake and you stab someone and the snake bites someone, the snake will get the death penalty. So the question is, if you say the mouth of the snake is considered a chatzar hamazik, why you kill the snake? Why can't the owner of the snake say, why are you killing my snake? What's your hand doing in my snake's mouth? It must be that the mouth of the snake is considered chatzar hanizatami. The answer is, the difference could be, the answer is, this concept of b'shus hamazik is an exemption when it comes to damages, not when it comes to the death penalty. Meaning, it could be really it's b'shus hamazik. So if it's b'shus hamazik, then why don't you say, well, what's your hand doing in my snake's mouth? The answer is that excuse does not work for the death penalty. Uminat timra. And how do I know this? That when it comes to death, we do not absolve a killer animal because we say it's b'shus hamazik. If you break into someone's house without permission, so you break into John's house and John's dog, while you broke into his house, attacks you and kills you. What's the halacha? John is completely exempt from all monetary payment. He doesn't have to pay, even if the person died was an Evid, you don't have to pay kofer. But the dog that killed him is going to get the death penalty. So why is it that he's potter? Because he could say, what are you doing in my backyard? But even that's the case, we still kill the dog. What do you see? You see that when an animal kills, it gets killed. We don't care about b'shus hamizik, b'shus hamazik. So you see from here, we don't care about ketala at all. Okay. The Gemara ends off, before we get to the Mishnah, the Gemara just says, Amaisa, Hanu izi debei tarbu dehavi masile Rav Yosef. There were goats that were owned by the Tarbu family that were eating the property of Yosef. They're going into his backyard and eating. So Amar leila Abaya, Zil Emel Marai listener. So Rav Yosef said to Abaya, go tell the owner they should keep their goats away from my property. Amar leila Amai Ezel. So Abaya says, what's the point of me going? This is what they're going to say. They're going to tell me, they're going to tell me, it's not my goat's responsibility. Put up a fence. You don't want my goat to be there, put up a fence. Now the truth is, that's not a taina halachically. You're responsible to make sure your animals don't wander into other people's fields. Abaya's point is that it's a waste of time because they're not going to listen to me. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, so you're going to tell me that's what they're going to say? It's a taina? Their taina is going to be, then put up a fence, and my animal can just eat wherever it is unless you put up a fence? If that would be a taina that put up a fence, then how do you ever chayiv shein? Right? How are you ever chayiv shein? You go into someone's your animal eats someone else's food, then you never be responsible. You always say, oh, you should put up a fence. If that's a taina, then when are you ever going to have shein? The Gemara says the case when you would be mechayim shum shein is b'shechatra, is where the animal dug in under and broke into someone's backyard. Inami did not for good belayla, or where the person had a fence, but the fence fell at night, so he couldn't have put the fence back up. Now the Gemara just ends off. Machris Rav Yosef itema Rabba. Rav Yosef and Rabba made the following announcement: the Salkan le'elo denachli atatoy. Those going from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael and vice versa should know the following things. Hani easy the shuk and the masi. Apparently they were goats that they would shecht it a couple times a year. Would be like the market days that they would shecht. So let's say your goat is gonna get slaughtered in a couple weeks. So during those weeks, those goats were doing a lot of damage because the owner knew that they weren't grazing anyway, so they would go and do some damage. The problem is you got to get the goats to stop doing damage. So the owners would say, "We are going to kill it, right?" You go over and say, "Hey, your goat's doing damage. Stop it." He would say, "Well, we will, but a goat's going to be dead in a month anyway." The halacha is, we will warn the owners 2 or 3 times. If they heed our warnings and prevent the animal from doing damage, good. And if not, if not, then what we tell them, hey, kill them. They're being shechted tomorrow. Even if that means you're losing money, we do not care. You're going to have to kill it so that the animal stops damaging. Okay, the last concept, the Mishnah says, we know that there's a tam and a mu'ud. Tam is the first 3 times, the mu'ud is the 4th time. Ezu tam, ezu mu'ud. What's the definition of tam? What's the definition of mu'ud? Mu'ud, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is not 3 or 4 times, it's 3 or 4 days. Kol she'idu b'shleisha yomim. As long as it attacked on 3 separate days, that's already a mu'ud. Now, according to the Tanakama, which is Rabbi Yehuda, I believe, Rabbi Yehuda says, however, a mu'ud can become a tam again if it becomes docile. And it reverts to being a tam when it doesn't attack on 3 separate days. If there are 3 separate days where it sees other oxen and could attack and doesn't, then it becomes a tam again. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 3 days more than 3 times. Rav Meir says, no, mu'ud shehedu b'shleisha pam. Rav Meir says it's not about 3 days, it's about the 3 days, 3 times. As long as it attacked 3 times, it's a mu'ud. The tam, and so how does a mu'ud become a tam according to Rav Meir? Kol she'atanoikis u'mashin b'veinagach. If it becomes so docile that children could poke on its face and rub its head and play with it, and it doesn't attack, that's when it becomes a tam again. Okay, so what's the source of Rabbi Yehuda that the animal has to attack 3 days? My time is Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rabbi, because the pasuk says, "Oinoida kishar nagachu." Right, we know that it's a mu'ud because mitmol shelshaim v'lo yishmerenu. It attacked yesterday and before yesterday, and the animal and the owner didn't guard. Timol is chad. Mitmol, the extra mem, is 2. Shelshaim is 3. V'lo yishmerenu. So if it attacks for 3 days, then it becomes a mu'ud. Rava says slightly different. Timol, mitmol, the extra mem is 1. Shilshayim is 2. And then after 2 times, if it doesn't guard. So Rashi says, Rava disagrees. It's not after 3. It's not 3 and then it becomes a mu'ud. It's after 2 it becomes a mu'ud. Taisus doesn't like this. He says, no. Of course, everyone agrees after 3 times a mu'ud, not before. And this is just a machlokes in drashos. All right, we'll stop here. Pick it up tomorrow, B'ez Hashem.